Jay, so I saw a portion of an interview clip with Ian Dunlap and Eboni K. Williams, our good sis, is back in the news again. And in this clip, they talked about, women and men and the money that they make and, whether or not their husband or their wife, is making a certain amount of money and what those instances would be. But Jay, I'm often hearing this sort of messaging coming from individuals that have quote unquote made it, where they are the exception and not necessarily the rule. And it's really unsettling that this conversation gets amplified in these social media spaces. So I'm sure you've seen the clip. I'd love to know your thoughts and your take on it for our audience.
I'm so sick of these people. And, it's so sad with the Ian Dunlap situation because for Ian, I'm on and off with him. You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't know the brother personally. I'll salute to the brother. But this is just from, when you put your thought leadership out into the world, somebody could say something about it. And so this is me. I like his disposition on stocks. In some instances, I like his disposition on, black people getting their ish together to, change our station and our position in the world. But also then he'll throw me off, man, because he get real, I don't want to call it girly, but you in your bag, you made you some money, right? And I don't think he's a nerd. And so I don't want to call him that because I don't think he's like a nerd. I think he comes from the Chicago area. I think he got some, he's been around the block a couple times, because you don't have to be a felon or go to jail or all that stuff. But he don't strike me as a nerd. But he has that nerdish tendency. And what I mean by that, because a lot of the nerds are they don't care. They're very mean. And they're only thinking about themselves. They're very selfish individuals. And so, because I just believe that in our time, the nerds were the ones that nobody was paying attention to. And they were right all along. They knew that they were the scientists. They were going to be engineers. They're going to be this. And now the world is theirs. And they're going to tell you, and they're going to treat you like that. They're going to talk shit. And it's because they won and financially, and then they just start talking this bullshit. So when you come around to this conversation with him and Eboni K. Williams, and the other brothers was in there too, the Earn Your Leisure brothers, but they was talking about, she said something about $500, if she makes $500,000, she can't go to her husband that makes $75,000, consult with him. And I'm sitting here like, damn, when you make $500,000, you're in the top 1% of our country, right? And so that means you're only 1%. You're only 1%. Like everybody, you are the exception. You are not the rule. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're thinking about that, what do we do as men, right? Because check it. We was never taught that to critique y'all on how much you made. We were always on it does she look good? Does she make me feel good? Is somebody I want? Does she make me feel like more of a man? All this shit that didn't have anything to do with money. If she made some money, that was a bonus. And for a heterosexual man, we don't have no women to date. Because the ones who got some money like we got, because and let's just put that out there, I'm not broke. So I'm not saying that for that. But I understand because I'm not a nerd and because I come from nothing and I come from the mud, people that come from this have more compassion than people that didn't. And so I understand where I come from. And I understand that I am the exception because a lot of my friends didn't make it out. A lot of my friends can't figure out their way around a felony and stuff like that. So I understand, and I'm grateful for the space that I'm in. But my heart bleeds for those people who didn't make it out in that space, right? So I'm looking at them, I'm saying, okay, damn, if the brother got to say, I can't consult my wife because she don't make no money, I make $200,000, $300,000, and she makes nothing, and she just taking care of my kids, I don't have to consult her with how I do business? Damn, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, don't talk to her about what I do in the household, stuff like that. That's how we doing it? That's nuts. This ain't about love. This ain't about real relationships. This is literally about the business transaction of it. And I'm not naive to not know that marriage in this country, for the most part, is that. But then you get mad when people saying they don't want to get married. And then we have a string of young fellas that's coming up nowadays that's woke. And they're like, nah, I'm not paying for everything that she wants. I'm not doing all this because not just Eboni K. Williams, but chicks like her. Because again, you're in the 1%. You're just in the 1% of everybody. Definitely in the 1% of females. So when you're running your mouth, you got a lot of bum bitches that's trying to follow you that don't got what you got. Money-wise, education-wise, none of that. And you're fucking up the ecosystem for the people that's coming behind you. And y'all are not careful enough. Eboni, Ian, the EYL brothers, I can't think of their name, Rashad and the other one right now. Y'all talk, y'all not careful enough. All of y'all, a lot of y'all like get to that point in social media and on the world, and y'all not careful enough to understand that the people that listening to y'all are not on y'all level. And y'all fucking up households. Cause it's some chick that got a job and her man is in a space and she talking shit to him because she heard her. And you got some dude thinking he ain't that because he's on his path, he's on his journey. He's not where you are yet. But I always think back to this relationship. I don't know these people personally. I got a chance to meet the lovely lady about 10, 15 years ago. But Vanessa Bell Calloway and her husband, Dr. Calloway. You know, Vanessa Bell Calloway has been an actress. She's the woman, if you don't know who that is, she's the woman who in Coming to America who's doing ooh, ooh, ooh. I heard her story about her being an actress while her husband is in medical school. Now, being in that big movie, and she's done a bunch of things at a time in our early years, and I can imagine her getting to the bag and he's doing his thing. And then I see her drop off for a while when it comes to the movie portion because she has about 2 or 3 daughters right now. And so I'm sure she took some time off, and now he's the doctor and she's not making all the movie money. And then I see her pop back up in the movies, and now I'm like, this is what relationships look like. And even for me, when I was in a space, before me being a felon and, you know, coming out of college with a degree and couldn't get a job and looking to marry a woman who is a straight A student and got the degree and in her path and running her race already, and her not giving up on me or not saying that I was going to be shit because that's what her mom and them thought and everybody else thought. And then it got to a point where she had a nice run of not having jobs because the world just turned on its axis, and those businesses and those crazy dumbass ideas that I had before that everybody else actually started working. And then I started making the money. And then now she's sitting home for years at a time without working because I'm taking care of it. This is what relationships look like. Not that bullshit that y'all talking about. And the funny thing, especially I was going to Ian, your family is heavily protected, bruh. Like, I watch you. You talk highly about that young prince that you and your wife had. You know, you talk her. It's an honor situation. Show that shit more. Stop talking that bum shit, man. You don't even come from that. You don't come from that. You come from some real G shit. And start understanding that y'all are in the 1%. Y'all are in the top 1%. So the most of the people who's talking to you is trying to get to where you are, but definitely we know for a fact, everybody not trying, but most of the people aren't where you are. But you are influencing them negatively. It's not realistic. Most women that's making that type of money, like Eboni K. Williams, especially and then again, if she looked like us, there's a small amount of sisters that's like that. And these brothers are out here. We weren't raised to look at our sisters like that, like how much money you make, and that's going to dictate whether or not I give you the world, or better still, give you my world. It was about those other things that made us give her our world. And together we were able to grow. And I'll say this, the last. That my peoples were not better than money with me. You know, just because I didn't make the money at the time, I was way better with money. And I was very successful at the illegal shit I did. I just had to figure out a time to in a way to translate it. And so let's not get it twisted that just because that sister is gifted at singing, that sister is a gifted actress, that sister is a gifted whatever the hell she is, and she becomes a lottery ticket, that doesn't mean that she's a good person. That doesn't mean that she got good snatch. That don't mean that she's a good person to talk to. That don't mean any of that shit. And so we can't put our stock into that because it's bullshit.